Jimmy Garcia might be gone too soon, but his influence stayed in the hearts and music of these new emerging nu metal acts that we're going to introduce. What's up mga ka-eksena? Welcome back to my world, Elmer's World, where we vlog about music and subculture in our local scene here in the Philippines, or what we call OPM. And as you can see, I'm wearing my Slapshock custom sublimated shirt from Activate. Because in this video, we're going to talk about a genre that had its peak in the late 90s until the early 2000s, but made its hiatus for suddenly falling off in its commercial popularity. But now it's setting off its revival. Yeah, you got it right. Nu metal. But real quick, to those of you who are new, subscribe to my channel and click the bell button for more updates on my upcoming videos. So with that out of the way, let's get into it. The term nu metal can be connected, I repeat, can be connected to the term new wave or new wave music way back in the 1970s to 80s, in a point where a broad pop-oriented style genres emerged after punk rock. Gatekeepers and tastemakers consider this style uncool, for it incorporates pop elements in the traditional style of music, creating a hybrid that incorporates electronic elements like synth in the music, making the term new wave. But way back in the late 90s to the early 2000s, new wave is not only a style of music, but a hairstyle and a fashion statement, and probably an embarrassing phase, because way back in the 90s, bubblegum-styled pop music, hip-hop, and rap, and boy bands are predominant. Back then, most teenagers were seen mostly wearing baggy elephant jeans, baggy clothes, some wearing their hair like that of their idolized boy bands, that Leonardo DiCaprio mid-part hairstyle, or what we call curtains nowadays. Some wear the spiky hair to follow the so-called trend, if that term is applicable back then. Culture has been changed forever. I can't consider new wave as a genre, but I think it's just a loose term for a new wave of artists, modern in a sense or unupdated version. Nu metal, or sometimes can be called rap metal, being an updated version of metal that incorporates hip-hop elements or rapping to be exact. In the early days, some have called it raver metal for some bands wearing Janko jeans as a fashion statement. Nu metal clothing typically consists of baggy pants, shirts, and shorts, Janko jeans, Adidas tracksuits, sports jerseys, baseball caps, baggy hoodies, cargo pants, and sweatpants. Nu metal hairstyles and facial hairstyles include dreadlocks, braids, spiky hair, chin beards, bald heads, goatees, frosted tips, and bleached or dyed hair. Common accessories in nu metal fashion include wallet chains, tattoos, and piercings, especially facial piercings. Nu metal fashion has been compared to hip-hop fashion. Some nu metal bands such as Motograter, Mushroomhead, Mudvayne, and Slipknot wear masks, jumpsuits, costumes, face paint, corpse paint, or body paint. A few nu metal bands such as Cold Chamber, Evanescence, and Kitty are known for having gothic appearances. In rock music scenario, grunge has been the predominant genre in those days, and alt metal or alternative metal. And also in those days, genres were taken seriously, at least in the eyes of the gatekeepers. Gatekeepers being those people who are quote-unquote real. Real punk, real metal, anything that's sly away in the eyes of those gatekeepers are being hated, such as nu metal. As I have said, the term nu metal is created from new wave, an updated version of metal. It incorporates elements like rapping, electronic or industrial music, synth or DJs, some grungy or alt metal kind of singing, adding it with some bounce riff, and we have what we call as nu metal. Hybridization of a genre started off in the form of nu metal being the catalyst for incorporating hip-hop elements in heavy music. The origins of the term nu metal are often attributed to the work of producer Ross Robinson, who has been called the godfather of nu metal. Between producers, Robinson has produced for nu metal bands such as Korn, Limp Bizkit, and Slipknot. Some say that nu metal genre appeared out of nowhere and is a weird outgrowth of the Lollapalooza era alt metal scene. Appeared out of nowhere, then suddenly blew up. Nu metal origins can be traced back to Korn being the pioneer, a band with a big influence of hip-hop, Dr. Dre and Ice Cube being their major influences. From 1993 to 1998, it is the early development and rise of nu metal. Joel McLeaver acknowledged Korn as the band that created and pioneered the nu metal genre with its demo Nader Maver's Mind, which was released in 1993. McLeaver also acknowledged Korn as the band that started the new wave of American heavy metal, which is a heavy metal music movement that started in the 1990s. The aggressive riffs of Korn, the rapping of Limp Bizkit, and the melodic ballads of Stained created a sonic template for nu metal. In the early 2000s, nu metal was all over MTV, with bands such as Limp Bizkit and Fred Durst being a total pop star. Linkin Park, Disturbed, Papa Roach, System of a Down, Deftones, and numerous bands are on the airwaves. Some of these bands are obscure and have its own take on the nu metal sound. Bands such as Nothing Face, Il Nino, Stuck Mojo, Project 86, Motograder, and Red. With the genre being overrated and the scene becoming oversaturated with nu metal bands rapping, screaming, and playing bounce riffs, people got really tired of the genre getting old real soon. That led to its sudden decline in the mid-2000s following the rise of metalcore bands like Killswitch Engage, As I Lay Dying, and some emo bands like The Used, My Chemical Romance, Fall Out Boy, and a lot of 2000s screamo bands like Senses Fail, Finch, From First to Last, and a plethora of bands under the emo radar. It is when kids get real tired of the macho image of nu metal created that they started off to create a new kind of movement of skinny kids with swoopy hair creating songs about being heartbroken and get real extreme by incorporating screaming into their music. It is in the late 2000s up until the early 2010s when it is not cool to listen to nu metal, but there's a sudden revival going on in the late 2010s decade that made nu metal cool again, starting from a metalcore band called Of Mice and Men with the release of Restoring Force and adding nu metal elements into it, and also Suicide Silence' last album with Mitch Lucker, The Black Crown, R.I.P. Mitch Lucker. A number of metalcore bands started off the rise of the genre's revival. Bands such as Emir, Cane Hill, Code Orange, Danger Kids, My Ticket Home, Sylar, and even Bring Me the Horizon sounded nu metal later on. The term now became known as nu metalcore. The rise of nu metal bands in the Philippines can be traced back to the so-called the Great Triumvirate, which is the big three of nu metal that arose in the 90s. If Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, and Anthrax being the big four of thrash metal, Pinoy metal has its big three, or can also be big four with a band called Zooom. They're considered to be the lost Filipino nu metal band. With the music being produced back then, it sounds grittier. Where are these guys now? I'm starting to think that if these guys continued up until now, they might sound amazing with the modernized way of music production these days. In the 2000s, a band called Glitch released their album ILLEMENTZ. Their track Shiver has a 90s Deftones style of sound combined with screams of a tortured soul. Chicosci also is a nu metal band back then, with their album Revenge of the Giant Robot, but during the mid-2000s, they've transitioned into more of an emo-styled band. Some Filipino nu metal bands adopted the flavors of the genre in their music. Some ambient, dark, and paranoid sounding and quote-unquote quiet loud sound like that of Deftones is adopted by a band called Fast Pitch. Some bands like Curbside adopted the rebellious alt-metal sound of Rage Against the Machine. If you want to go heavier on screaming and rapping, there is a band called Greyhounds, one of the big three. Also, one of the big three is Ian Tayo of Queso and Willa Baliw. These guys are the more tropical and reggae flavor of nu metal. I mean, seriously, they try to emulate more of the Jamaican kind of accent or sound in their singing. We can also mention the band Power Spoons for being reggae nu metal. And the biggest nu metal band of them all, a tribute to the late legend Jamir Garcia and Slapshock. This excerpt is from Inquirer.net. Slapshock and Garcia undoubtedly made a name for themselves, but they will always be attached to a three-headed monster, Queso and Greyhounds. Although they had different approaches to songwriting and overall sound, These three bands are credited for initiating the nu metal movement in the Philippines, a branch off of the metal genre music that infused hip-hop elements and rap into fast-paced drumming, groovy bass lines, and low-tuned guitars. Slapshock in their earlier albums like 4th Degree Burn, Head Trip, Project 1141 focused more on rapping elements. Vocalist Jamir Garcia really sounded like Jonathan Davis of Korn back then. But in their later albums, Cariño Brutal, 15 Calibre, Ataque, they focused more on a melodic metalcore kind of sound. Jamir Garcia might be gone too soon, but his influence stayed in the hearts and music of these new emerging nu metal acts that we're going to introduce. Now before we begin, I would just like to tell you that the bands that we are going to talk about in this video are mainly recommendations. Some of them are popular, in my opinion are similar to the aforementioned artists and not being considered rip-offs by any means. If you know of any Pinoy nu metal bands that are not on this list, let me know down in the comment section below. Shout out to all Slap armies, RIP Jamir Garcia. Now if you listen to Slapshock, you should listen to these bands. Are you ready? Number 10 on this list, we got a cover band from General Santos City. This band is called Distract. They have no original tracks yet, but they're somehow impressive for their diverse covers of nu metal songs from different bands. They did a cover of Psychosocial by Slipknot, Roots Bloody Roots by Sepultura, they also did Pinoy nu metal songs like Shiver from Glitch, Ngayon Na by Slapshock, their tribute to the late Jamir Garcia. Can't wait for them to record their original tracks, anticipating their album release. Shout out to my cousin Marvin Javier for the content suggestion. He's the guitarist and screamer of the band formerly known as Esoteric and are now called Pranoya. Not the progressive metal band with the same name but a nu metal band from Manila. I've seen them live on this event held at the Quarry in Las Piñas. I've had amazing experiences watching the said event and the lineup is a blast. I also got a chance to have a photo with them, including a band called God vs. the Kings, which we are going to discuss later on. The event is mostly composed of underground nu metal bands. All I can say is that no matter how intimidating the bands on that event may appear, they are the nicest people you'll ever meet. Pranoya is a female-fronted nu metal band formerly known as Esoteric. With the lineup and changes on band members, their current incarnation is now known as Pranoya. Their single recorded at the Owl Audio is entitled Queen of Pain. The track is such a banger. The band can be comparable to the likes of female-fronted alt-metal / nu metal bands like Evanescence, Flyleaf. I could see a lot of potential for this band, so let's watch out for them. And don't forget to check out Queen of Pain, the link will be on the description. Number 8 on this list is a band I've just recently discovered. They have a single called Overload, and all I can say is that the rapping part kinda sounds like Papa Roach, but can also be comparable to nu metalcore bands like Danger Kids, adding it with some distant, distress signal sounding voice effects. Riffs are amazing and I can hear Slipknot undertones into it. And the screaming part is filled with anguish, blended with the rapping at the end. In my opinion, this band can be a potential nu metalcore band. You can follow them on their Facebook page, link will be on the description. Any band that has the word Link on their name is probably inspired by Linkin Park. Shout out to my cousin Marvin Javier, a guitarist of this band called Missing Link. Two of their tracks are mixed and recorded on DL Audio. Both are amazing tracks. The Revenant is a fast-paced, straight-up rap metal. The riff on the intro is kinda inspired by Before I Forget by Slipknot. Revenant is a good jam. Playing the song on a large crowd is a great bounce. Their other track called Devil's Whisper has a much darker sounding atmosphere. This track is a banger and stayed true to what nu metal is all about. Anger. Don't forget to check out this band, they're so interesting, the link will be on the description. If you've ever listened to Slipknot's album Point 5 The Great Chapter, then there's a great chance that you can recognize the influence on this mysterious nu metal band called Spectre. There's not much of a photo of them on Google except this one that shows them wearing masks. If you take a look, you can make comparisons like Slipknot combined with Hollywood Undead. Seriously, this band is so interesting. First time I've listened to their song called Suicide Ticket, I've recognized the chorus that sounds like Sarcastrophe from Point 5. Plus the fascinating visuals like the cursed videotape on the movie The Ring. A creepy compilation of clips that shows grotesque and disgusting stuff like maggots and brains melting. The Slipknot influence is evident, but this band focused more on the creep stuff, especially when I listened to the intro of Plague Heart. Here is a rare info found on uniteasia.org. Spectre has just released their first single entitled Plague Heart. Spectre was formed in May 2018 and initially planned on doing covers for Slipknot, Mudvayne, and Sepultura. The band later began writing songs, with lead guitarist Henry injecting catchy yet heavy riffs during band practice. The band was eventually able to complete arranging 2 songs over the span of 2019. After successful 2019 gigs, the band decided to focus on recording for the entire 2020. According to Sean, the band's vocalist, Plague Heart is a tribute to all the unsolved murders, especially the gruesome and heartbreaking rape murder case of a teenage girl whose face was skinned in Cebu. I will definitely watch out for this band, they're kinda interesting. If you want to check them out, the link will be on the description. Coming up at number 5 on this list, we got God vs. the Kings. I've seen them play for the first time at The Quarry, a band that claimed nu metal is not dead. Here's a little bio from their Facebook page. The culmination of years of desire by BJ to have a band that can play what he wants it to play. You see, he loves to experiment and it goes without saying that he does the same with his first love, music. So he sought out people who has the same taste, love, ambition, and dreams as him. After many dramas and broken promises, he found it. What I appreciate most about God vs. the Kings is how they sing about real topics and issues that is present in our society. Topics that targets judgments as to their song Perfecto, topics that touch on devastations caused by cataclysms as to their song Delubio. These guys stay true to what nu metal is all about, exposing the dark sides of society and human nature. Coming up at number 4 on this list, we got a reggae-styled nu metal band from Cebu City, Philippines. Stellar Skin. First time I've heard 5D Wicked. The thing I've noticed is the singer's voice, which can be comparable to Ian Tayo of Quezon and Willa Baliw, a well-known reggae-styled nu metal band. What I've meant by reggae-styled is the Jamaican kind of accent that seems to emulate that of Bob Marley. But seriously, the reggae riff is evident on this band's songs, specifically Escape. The themes of social disgust are also found on the lyrics of their songs, particularly 5D Wicked, which can also be a politically charged song. Stellar Skin had a self-titled album. You should give it a listen.
No more secrets to hide, we'll be invincible.
Glasstone Live host Dowell had a band called Diachroma, a nu metal/metalcore band signed to Campsite Recordings. We can definitely label this band as nu metalcore. Change of Perspective is a nu metal track with breakdowns on the climactic part of the song. Dowell's voice on the choruses soar like that whiny, clean metalcore singing, combined with a little rapping and the use of techno, and they got themselves a solid nu metal track. Their song Vindicta, which featured Migs Palispis of Curbside, now in Fel the Mighty, is a badass collaboration. But their track Fortitude is a straight up metalcore track. Can't wait for these guys to release a full-length album. That would be amazing.
Ikot, huwag mong ipikit ang iyong mga mata. Das! At ito ay isang babala. Das! Sa mga taong praning na nagmamagaling. Das!
Number 2 on this list, we got a straight-up rap metal band from Butuan City, Philippines. Guilty Parties is a band that can be comparable to Greyhounds. Their Tagalog straight-up rap metal songs are solid, punchline after punchline, songs that scream social disgust. I tend to think that the chorus for the song Judas is inspired by Doble Cara of Greyhounds. Some of their song titles are Swapang, Mangmang, Balahura, literally an attack targeted to somebody. Metal music is the kind of music that channels hate and anger. If thrash metal is hatred for war, black metal is hatred for religion, Guilty Parties is one of those bands that stayed true to what nu metal is all about, hatred for society or social disgust. And last but not the least, we got Sere Famous. The meaning of the band's name is defined on their Facebook page. Sere Famous derived from an intimate feeling of passion, angst, and creativity. Some of their tracks from Root Wall is a great alt-metal jam. If you want Hubastank and Incubus feels, listen to their song Saint Violence and Sweet Wicked Voice. A melancholic yet reflective vibe is portrayed on their song Timelines. And with that being said, the band expressed Sere Famous through their music. Kalayaan ng Kamalayan speaks a positive message, literally loud enough with the screaming, to support the strong message they want to convey, about standing up and fight for what you think is right. Sere Famous is one of those bands that is rebel but with a cause. Nu metal might be a phase that had to pass, but we cannot deny its influence that changed the state of heavy music forever. The down-tuned guitars are one of those techniques that never should have happened without nu metal being the catalyst. Hybridization of genres and bridging the gaps of opposite cultures happened because some kids listened to Korn and Limp Bizkit back then. Rap and metal become possible, with nu metal providing a way to innovate and create a genre that might piss off the gatekeepers, but still later on accepted as an essential contribution to the culture. Okay guys, thanks for watching. Now if you enjoyed this video, drop a like, comment down for a shout out, share, follow me on my socials, the link will be down below in the descriptions. Subscribe to my channel and click the bell button for more updates on my upcoming videos. If you want to know more about the music scene here in the Philippines, you can watch my other videos here and here. That's it for this video. I'll see you next time.
What's